I'm super excited today because I'm going to teach you how to draw an Arctic walrus. But first I want to tell you some fun walrus facts. There's two types of walrus, the Pacific and the Atlantic walrus, and they both can live in Arctic conditions. And what do I mean by Arctic? I mean freezing cold, up to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 60 degrees below the temperature of freezing. I don't think I could live there. Maybe you could, but I can't. You know, the walruses have adapted to be able to survive in these freezing cold conditions because of their blubber. And their blubber is a thick layer of fat below their skin that insulates them and keeps them warm. It protects them so they barely feel those freezing cold temperatures. That's also what makes them so big. A male walrus can get up to 1.5 tons. That's pretty huge, if you ask me. Some other cool facts about walruses are that they're very social. They like to hang out in packs and be around each other, and we call those herds. Walruses have those long tusks, and that's usually how we notice that they're walruses. They're incredible tools. Both the male and the female have tusks, and they use them every day to haul themselves out of the water and onto the ice. And they also use them to protect themselves against each other or predators. The top two predators of the walrus are orcas and polar bears. The last thing that I want to tell you about the walrus is the largest threat to the walrus is climate change. And that means as our Earth is heating up, the ice in these Arctic places is melting, which is not a good thing for the walrus. So we need to think about that and take care of our planet so that we can take care of our walruses too. Let's jump into the video. I'm going to teach you how to draw this Arctic walrus right now. Check out these super fun and creative versions of the Arctic walrus done by Studio Sprout students. They came up with so many fun color combinations and really interesting backgrounds. My young artists always come up with ideas that I hadn't even thought of, like the rainbow walrus or doing two walruses together with penguins in the background. Let's learn how to draw the walrus, and then you can decide what unique elements you'll add to your art. You can use crayon, chalks, or oil pastel for this project. I'm using oil pastels, and I've gathered several purples, dark blues, some peach tones, and black and white. I'm using a turquoise piece of construction paper for my background. You can play around with the colors of your oil pastels or your background. Use what you have and colors that you like. Grab your black oil pastel and let's get started. Draw a tall arc starting at the bottom of one side of your paper and going to the other. Inside the top of the arc, draw a small arc and then close up the bottom of the small arc. That's the muzzle. Now let's draw the tusks. The tusks are a stretched out V shape, just like a carrot. It's okay if your tusks are not an exact match. That makes it more natural, like a real walrus. At the top of the muzzle, draw a V and fill it in with black. Draw a dark dot on each side of the muzzle. Make sure you rub your oil pastel so that the eye is completely filled in. Notice how I'm holding down the paper with my helper hand. My helper hand is the hand that I'm not drawing with. It's really important to hold the paper down, especially when you're rubbing back and forth really hard. When we fill in these tusks, I want you to apply pressure so that the white comes out really dark. Go slow next to the black line and do your best to keep your white pure. Put a little white highlight around the black dot. Take your white oil pastel and rub with pressure carefully around your black line. Practice getting really close to the black line, but not going on top. And it's okay if the line you're drawing is rough. It gives it character. Grab your black oil pastel again. We're going to darken up the outline of the walrus. I'm going to use dark purple to color in the muzzle. Apply light to medium pressure and don't worry about coloring in the muzzle completely. Oh yeah, if you're not sure what a muzzle is, it's the part of the face that comes out that holds the nose and the mouth. Dogs and horses also have muzzles. I'm layering on some dark blue on top of the dark purple. Oil pastels are cool because they can blend. My purple oil pastel happens to have lost its wrapper, so I'm using it on its side, but you can draw and fill in your walrus any way you'd like. I'm working my way around the inside of the walrus with light pressure. I'm going to add in some more layers, some with more pressure and some with new colors. Watch how I turn my oil pastel on its tip and I start rubbing vigorously. That means fast and hard. You can switch around colors like I'm doing here. One side of the walrus is going to be dark colors and the other side of the walrus is going to be light colors. I'm going to add the peach starting right next to the black outline and working my way towards the center of the walrus. I'm also going to add a little bit up top. This lighter area represents where the light might be shining down on the walrus. Perhaps it's a sunny day in the Arctic. I want you to feel brave and courageous with your colors today. I made a blue, purple, and peach walrus. That's not something we'd see in nature, but it's a fun twist, and it's art. And art allows us to try new things and play around and be fun. There are endless variations and combinations of colored pastels and background paper that you can do. Once you have your walrus filled in, you're going to start smudging and blending the oil pastels with your fingers and using whatever colors you want to add details. I'm deciding to clean up the eyes with a little more white and make sure that my tusks are really filled in and glowing white. Now that we're done coloring in the walrus, let's go back over our outline. We're going to slowly follow our original lines with our black oil pastel one more time. Drawing these whiskers might be my favorite step. Using my white oil pastel, I'm pressing down firmly and making hard, long strokes, starting in the center of the muzzle and working my way outward in a lot of different directions. Our last step is coloring the background. Again, my white oil pastel does not have paper on it, so it's easy for me to rub it on its side. If yours still has paper on it, keep that paper on because it protects your fingers, and just go crazy in the background with the tip of your white oil pastel. Drawing this walrus with you was super fun. I can't wait to see what you create.